Lindsay. In third place, Lori Stewart. Amy Silverman. Lori, you're at the top. Enough of that over there. Not so much noise over there. Amy, congratulations. Melissa McAllister. Anita Myra. Carly Del Carlo. Brittany Leggett. Micah Folsom. And Alyssa Schomaker.
You did a good job with her hair.
Yeah,
all right.
that's really good.
So the lone man up here, I feel so privileged. This is great. So we have just a few minutes, but what we want to do is we're going to give each of these coaches just about 3-4 minutes, which is not a lot of time when there's this wealth of knowledge up here. So you're saying, so Jeff, be quiet, let's get after this, right? But what I do want to do is I'm just going to ask you 3 questions, and I'm going to lay them out from the beginning. The first is you look back on this past year, if you look back over your Beachbody career, what's the one must do? Whether you're a seasoned coach, whether you're a new coach, you can go wherever you want with that. What's the one must not do kind of a thing? Okay, if you're to look back and go, man, oh man, don't do this. And if you're doing this, stop it. Okay? And then if you've got time, like if I had a do-over, if I had in golf, they'd call it a mulligan, but a do-over. So, Melanie, we're going to start with you. I just want to share this. Lots of times you put all these ladies up here. They look beautiful. They're talented. They're articulate. They're hardworking. And they always get asked the question, what's it like to be, the top 10 coach or elite coach? And when we called Melanie this year to congratulate her, it was like, well, so what are you doing right now? Are you celebrating a little bit? She says, well, I just got a load of laundry out. I'm running the kids, to preschool, to school, and it's kind of crazy around the house right now. But in reality, that's part of what life, is here. But anyway, Melanie, so congratulations on being top 10 coach, and let's ask you, what's the deep insights?
Deep insights. Okay.
And hold that mic really close to you.
Really close. Is this good?
Please.
Hi, everybody. All right. So the thing that I say is a must-do is the first book I read The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. I would say that was the game changer for me. So coming from no background in network marketing, not really understanding even the business, I would say reading that book, it was just like something flipped in my mind, and I think it teed me up for basically everything that I've done in my business. From consistency to managing my time to mindset with my workouts, and that really kind of propelled me each step along the way, and it's something I refer back to when I'm working with my challengers and when I'm working with my coaches. So I would say that's like a must-do. That book was a mindset for me.
All right. So if there was, as you look at your business and as you've learned and look back and go, man, don't do this. Is there one of those things that you could identify? Behaviors.
Waste time. At the beginning, I know that a lot of time was wasted just kind of looking around at what everybody else was doing and not really putting on my blinders and saying, what do I do? And it's easy to kind of get distracted by the shiny objects and, oh, this is a good idea, let me try this. So early on I realized I had bad time management skills, so I had to really kind of hone that in. So I did a lot of mindless scrolling, a lot of wasting my time, and if I can say tackle that first, get a good system down, that'll really help that learning curve and you won't go through a lot of those struggles at the beginning.
Okay. Just quickly identify, when you say shiny objects, there's lots of shiny objects, but if you were to identify just a couple, what are shiny objects?
Avenues that you can promote your business, whether it is a blog or Instagram or Facebook or a like page or fit clubs. There are so many ways, and there are so many different successful ways to do your business, and so I consider those your shiny objects. Whatever you choose to do, I get this question all the time. Do I have to have a blog to be successful? No. Just pick one area, one social media outlet, and then become the master at that, and that will be your key to success.
Okay, great. Any do-overs? If you look back, is there something you say, there's probably many, but is there one that you would say, looking back, I learned I wouldn't do this again?
So I'm gonna kind of twist it a different way. There was a failure that was like my defining moment. So, have you ever missed a goal or I missed leadership the first full year I was a coach. I didn't quite hit that qualification when I needed to. And so that could have been like a moment where, I could have pushed harder, I should have put in more hours, or I could have gotten myself there. But I feel like, no, that wasn't a do-over, that was a defining moment where I realized I can do this, I control myself, I control how much effort I put in, and I'm not gonna let this knock me down. I'm gonna use this as momentum to never miss another event, never miss another, thing that I wanna qualify for. And for me, it was such a mindset shift, so.
Great, all right, thanks Melanie. Okay, Lindsay, let's move over to you. Last year's top coach, you're a 4-time top 10 coach. You've been to Tahiti, to Argentina, to Italy, and you're going to be heading off to France this year. So you've done some remarkable things, and you were one of the first coaches that I ever met. I remember meeting you back in Orlando, and I tell the story, but I remember this woman coming up to me and saying, I will be at this trip in Cabo. And I just kind of thought, okay. And then this name kept popping up, and sure enough, Lindsay Matwick, she was that woman, and she put her sights on that, and you've just never stopped. Anyway, must-dos in your business.
So my must-do is to constantly work on myself. If at any point a couple years ago I had said, I got this, I've got this big business figured out, I don't need personal development anymore, I don't need to learn anything else, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, I would not be up here today. And so my must-do is never settle, never assume that you've got it down, and just continue to grow. My business grows in direct proportion to how I grow on the inside. And so the way that I lead is by leading by example and constantly growing.
So just maybe building on that a little bit, as you look, and do you look at a specific area to say, here's an area that I'm not as accomplished as I would like to be, and so now I'm going to focus on this area of personal development and say, you know what, I'm going to hone this skill. How do you go about that?
I remember I always worked on my weaknesses before, and then I went to Summit when John Maxwell spoke, and he said, why would you focus on your weaknesses when you can just strengthen your strengths? And so what I took was, okay, what am I an 8 at that I could maybe become a 9? Instead of taking my 2s and becoming a 5. I'm never gonna be organized. I've accepted it. I've found ways to be okay at being disorganized in a way that's never gonna be like Melanie. And it's okay, it works for me. And I'm thankful that I can say, you guys don't have to completely change the way that you are to be up here. You can figure out a way to be up here, being the best you can be in that area, but also strengthening the areas you're naturally good at. So that's what I focus on, is making my strengths even stronger.
Yeah, I think that's such a great point, because oftentimes we look at our weaknesses and we invest so much time trying to make that good, and that's not what your talents, your skill sets are. Go what gives you passion, where you're really good. And then someone said, do what you do best, hire the rest, or find someone that can do that. If you had a chance to share, okay, so I don't do this. As you look at some of your newer coaches around you and say, here's a specific behavior I see that is where they're not getting traction.
So you all know your goal is to help people, and every single person you bring in, you're like, gosh, I see so much for them. I want this for them so bad. And there's been a lot of times where I wanted it more than they did. And one of the hardest lessons for me to learn was that I couldn't help someone want to help themselves. I can speak life into them, I can try my best to lead them by example, but at the end of the day, it's their choice if they succeed. So my one thing would be knowing that you can never make that decision for someone. All you can do is lead the way and spend the time with the people who are investing what you're going to invest back into them, meeting them halfway. Okay,
good. Any do-overs? You can rephrase the question like Melanie did if you want.
I actually signed up as a coach over the phones back in October 2009, and I got the box in the mail, and back then, you guys know my story as a bankrupt bartender struggling, and I got the box and I looked inside of it, and it was all this information. We used to get a lot of stuff, and I was like, ooh, I don't have time for that. I need to go make money. So I put it behind my desk and it sat there for 9 months. And then 9 months later is when I started the business. So I always think back on that. I know God has perfect timing. So I'm appreciative of that. When I started, it was the right time. But I sometimes think, dang, I could have started 9 months earlier and not been struggling the way I was.
It's worked out okay though, right? So far? I mean, you know, hasn't been all bad?
It's been all right.
All right. Okay, good. All right, Lori, a newcomer to the Elite 10. You've been in the business 3 years. You're from Allen, Texas. Go ahead. You know the question. Must do. Keep that mic up, please.
So, one of the things I think that I initially struggled with was more believing in myself. And so, kind of like what they were saying, I really think that personal development is such an important part. And it's not just that, but it's the personal development every single day. Like, you can't do it once a week, once a month. You can't just do maybe 5 minutes of a book, audio. It's something that I've learned that it really has to be an everyday, consistent type of thing. You know, you have to show up in our business every single day. And I think that putting that personal development into you, because we pour ourselves out to everybody. And I feel like every time that I am struggling with my business or I'm struggling with my personal life, it's because I'm so empty, because I've poured myself out so much over and over again, and I've yet to fill myself back up. And so I think that people can do that, whether it's you do it with daily devotionals or you do it with the books or with, you know, any type of personal development. But the days that I do the little quick 5 minutes, or, you know, I'll say, oh, I'll just do it later, are the times I think it's really important. I struggle. And so I found that the more that I've done it now, and the more that I just add it into my everyday life, when I'm in the car, or when I'm just getting ready in the mornings, or when I'm, you know, just sitting in the kitchen cooking, I just try to have something playing, and you just, whether you're totally paying attention to it or not, it's going into your mind, and you'll take little bits and pieces out of it. And I think that, you know, especially over the past, you know, year and a half or so, has been one of the biggest things that's helped me.
I think particularly as your business begins to grow, I mean, as you just shared, you invest a lot of time in other people, and you absolutely have to keep investing time in yourself. Part of that's just because you keep growing, but you do give out a lot, so you've got to take time to fill your own reservoir. We got stuff going on over there. We good? Okay. So Lori, looking back quickly, anything that you kind of look at and go, ah, boy, you know, something I wish I could have done differently to my business?
A lot of it was kind of towards the beginning. I initially signed up as a discount coach. I never had any intention of really doing the business. And so my accountability was more just posting on Facebook just for myself, because I had so many comments, so many people saying, oh, you're never going to finish that, you're not going to do it. And I worked such long hours, and it would be really late at night, so that's when I would check in. But what I realized is that people never really knew I was a coach. And so looking back now, I wish that I would have came out of the closet, that I would have made that public announcement, you know, saying, this is what I'm doing, this is what I believe in, and not being embarrassed of it. Because I think, you know, like, we all get ridiculed, we'll all get comments, we'll all get people talking about what we're doing and this silly little, you know, dream that we have. And I think that I missed doing that, and I felt like it kind of, not delayed things, but it just made it a little bit harder for when I was ready to jump all in, because I hadn't put it out there the way that I felt that I should have initially.
Okay. Any do-over moments as you look back, other than maybe jumping in faster and embracing, you know, who you were?
I really think it's back to that personal development, because I didn't really do it in the beginning, you know, to be totally honest. I might have, you know, listened to a self-help thing on the way to work, but it wasn't really anything that I felt helps change me. And I know we're born with qualities. Some are better leaders than others, but I feel like it's more of a trait that you learn than you just have. And so I wish that I would have done it earlier, more of the leadership type of books on how to not just help myself, but how to help my team. And, you know, because I didn't understand and I didn't know how to do it. And I felt like I wasn't leading because I just...
Book, do you have one?
Right now it's You're a Badass.
Yeah.
It's what?
You're a Badass.
Oh, what'd you say? What'd you call me? I got it. Okay, moving on. Amy, two-time Elite 10. You went with us to Italy last year. You brought Kevin along, and we lost Kevin every time we turned around. Kevin was there. He's down here. We can see him right now. We'd go, we're moving everybody, and we'd look around, and we'd go, where's Kevin? Where's Kevin? So this year we've implanted a chip, and we're good to go. But anyway, congratulations. And what are the must-dos in your business?
Must-do. I mean, you guys are going to hear a lot of repeat things on this panel. It's really the same stuff, you know, that you really know you should be doing. Wow, my hair looks really frizzy in that video. There's a huge screen here, it's really distracting.
Well, you're right, it is frizzy today. I was looking at that. Wow.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Must do for your business. I really feel like you need to put yourself first. I feel like a lot of times people feel like they need to be out there, you know, being everything to everyone. But the thing about your business is that you are your business. And so if you're making yourself a priority and just living that out loud and just, you know, making, you know, just being really true to you and making sure that you're just letting other people in is a must do. Like, you can't hide, you can't do things kind of like half in, half out. You have to be all in with this. You have to be all in with your lifestyle, with how you live it. Everybody you talk to needs to know what you're doing. You know, it's just like any profession. It's just like when somebody goes to school and they're a doctor, like, they're a doctor and everybody knows they're a doctor. They don't hide that they're a doctor, you know. And if we're ever gonna make the Carl's vision come to fruition, where everybody has a Beachbody coach, everybody needs to know that you're one, and that's your profession. And I really feel like it's a must-do to really understand that this is a career, and that you need to act like it.
So it's interesting, as I look at this group, I think there's some of you that have particularly done a phenomenal job of kind of creating your own story, really identifying your sweet spot in this business. Namely, you're certainly one of those, I think, that just kind of has embraced, here's who I am and here's what I do. How did you go about doing that? Because I think there's a lot of people out here that go, well, yeah, you guys have all figured this thing out, but how did you get to that sweet spot of
Well, it's been 4 years, you guys. You know, it doesn't happen overnight, and it's been a lot of, you know, things I've heard up here already. I did a lot of watching what other people are doing and trying to be this person and trying to be that person and trying to be this person. And when I was finally just like, you know, you guys have probably felt this when you follow somebody or a top coach and you try to do what they're doing and it feels kind of hicky. And it's because you're not being true to yourself. And I think that when I just started putting on my blinders, like, you know, Melanie mentioned, and just really focusing on who I am and figuring that out and getting my story out there, was when people were like, oh, you know, who's this? And they really started to gravitate towards me because I became, you know, more true to myself.
Okay. All right, so as you look at coaches in your organization or other organizations, and you say, here's something that I see that would help them accelerate their business, if only they would do this.
You really need, what I think that you really need to make personal growth, you know, a priority. And when I say personal growth, I don't just mean like reading personal development books. I mean, like, I was doing personal growth since I was 23, you know, and I started doing self-help books when I started with Beachbody. And I really feel like the biggest projection, like, for me out the canon was when I started going to total immersion seminars and started really engulfing myself in the lifestyle of somebody who's investing personal growth into their life, not just somebody who's putting on an audiobook and then forgetting about it when they get out of the car. I think there's a big difference between listening and applying personal development, personal growth.
Okay, great. Any do-over moments? Do-over moments you look at? Yes. Do you want to share?
So many, but I'll focus on one. I was really, the first time I really hit a wall with my business at the end of my second year. I was almost about, I don't think a lot of people know this, but I was about to go back to waitressing, and I was already a full-time coach, and I was getting so frustrated because my income wasn't growing. And I know a lot of people would have quit. And I was determined, and I realized, well, I can get a job when I can just recommit to my business and making my business work. So I came out of a personal development seminar, and I really had to just stop. First of all, I had to stop holding everybody's hand on my team and wanting so much for them to be successful, but I also had to start talking about the business, you guys. I had to start talking about the business, not just challenge groups and losing weight and fun little things, like I had to be a business person. And I think when I got out of my limiting beliefs that I couldn't be a businesswoman and I couldn't help people grow a business, that I started talking more about money and weird things like that, and like helping people know that they could change their life with an income opportunity as well.
So presenting more of the whole picture.
Yeah, the lifestyle that you get from being a coach.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, Melissa, I think is this number 5 years as an elite coach? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Third time I know as an elite 10 coach. You went with us to Argentina, to Tahiti, going to France. So you're kind of one of the seasoned veterans here, as well, if there is such a thing. So as you look at your business, if you were to identify something, you said, this has been critical to my success.
Hi everybody, I wanted to say congratulations for being here first. It's a huge feat, great job. For me, if I can share anything with you, it's recruiting. I married a car guy. And from the get-go, he always told me this is a numbers game. And I'm like, it's a relationship. And he's like, I know, but it's still numbers. And I've been in this business for a little over 6 years, and he's 100% right. It takes you talking to 1,000 people to probably get 100 customers. Out of those 100 customers, you're probably gonna get 10 coaches. And out of those 10 coaches, you're probably gonna get 1 diamond. So if you do those numbers, you realize how many people that you need to talk to in order to build yourself a strong organization with some good leaders in it. And if there's anything that I think my leaders struggle with, is there's such caring people that once they get to the point that they have a team, they get into that management mode. And like I've heard Lindsay and Amy say, they want for their coaches so bad that they spend their whole time trying to help their coaches believe in themselves. And you have to always do that to some degree, but at the same time, you have to keep recruiting, and you're always bringing in new people. So don't be afraid to talk about the business, put yourself out there, and I bet every single one of you right now can think of one person that you'd love to talk to about their business, but you're scared to. Do it. Do it, because at the very least, they're gonna respect you for asking them, and you've planted that seed. So even if they're not ready at that very moment to become a coach, when they're ready, you're the person that was bold enough to ask them if they would consider it. So that's my advice.
As you look back on your career and said, here's one of the greatest growth moments for me, is there a point that you would look at and say, this is really where I had to overcome a significant challenge to push through a flat spot or a decline that you just said, man, this was, because everyone's going to have them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I'm very self-motivated, and I always say the only person that I compete with is me. I'm very competitive with myself, and so I'm not the kind of person that needs someone to affirm me and give me that. And so at first I was kind of guilty of not doing that for my coaches, because I didn't need it. It wasn't, I guess you could say your love language. I didn't need that, and so I wasn't very good about doing that for my coaches. And I've learned over the past 2 years to really get to know my coaches and what pushes them and drives them. And for those that were not feeling like they were getting enough affirmation or love from me or time from me, I've switched gears and I've really given them that. And I've seen a huge difference in them because they feel recognized.
So just maybe a little bit of a switch up on some of these questions, but as you look at brand new coaches, is there one thing that a message that you just continue to try and beat into them, if you will, or repeat, so that you kind of say, defocus, get rid of the shiny moments, this is what you've got to focus on, to get traction initially?
I think Amy touched on this, but for me, I want people to want to coach, either have my coaches be they be their customers or their coaches because they just see that Beachbody has made their life better, and not just physically, not just financially, but as a whole. I always stress with people that they really need to let people know that we're a sorority, a fraternity, a church, a community, just a team. And just by surrounding yourself with like-minded, happy, healthy people, your life's going to be better. And don't always focus just on the health part or just on the business part. But as a whole, I am just a happier person because I'm surrounded by such great people. So I want them, that's what I want them to put on social media, is I'm happier now because I'm surrounded by 200 and something thousand friends that have the same vision I do.
Okay, all right, thanks, Melissa. Anita, congratulations, first year as an Elite 10 coach. I say first year, I expect many more. Just from Florida to Grand Rapids and now down to Austin, Texas. As you look at your business this last year, you've been with Beachbody for almost 3 years, if I'm right on that. Key learnings. Learning.
So I heard everybody say, oh, I was gonna say that. Oh man, I was gonna say that part too. So, okay, I had a little time to think. And then I was like, okay, gotta think about what I'm really passionate about. When I was a coach in my first and second year, I looked at Lindsay, Melanie, Amy, Lori, Melissa, and I said, I'm not them. I'm not that quality or that quality. I'm never gonna make it. That was my initial self-doubt. And like Amy said, you absolutely need to be true to who you are and never be afraid to share your story authentically with the people who you have right now following you. You are a coach for somebody out there. And my initial mistake was, well, gosh, I'm missing that aspect. I'm missing that aspect. And I cut myself down, and then finally I said, Anita, you are Anita. Be Anita and share that. So I stopped being afraid of sharing my past, and I started sharing what made me who I am today, and what brought coaching to my life, and how every aspect of my life has been changed by the business and fitness. And through that, I naturally attracted the right people to me by being me. So if you're looking at the 10 of us and saying to yourself, I don't have that quality, there's something about her I don't have, I'm never gonna make it, you need to stop and say to yourself, I'm Lori, I'm Amy, and I'm this coach, and I'm gonna be this coach for somebody. I know at first it's very difficult and scary to share your past, but something in your life is absolutely inspiring to somebody else, and your story will change somebody's life, whether it be a very small thing or a big thing like overcoming substance abuse, eating disorder, issues with family and friends, or just issues with your parents. Something shaped you to who you are today. Never let the fear of being exposed or vulnerable hold you back. Use your story to change someone else's life, because we are people, we're life changers. And you have something that you can offer of value to somebody else. You have to believe that, because if you stop, you don't share that gift that you have, you're gonna get stuck. So you've got to share your story and be true to who you are.
I was talking with a coach the other day, and she was sharing, Carl had just gotten off the phone with her, and Carl says, oh, you need to talk with this coach because she's got some great insights on the business and just tremendous enthusiasm. And she was talking about, as I started talking to her, about the concept of the technical expert and the accidental expert. And I think it's from Brendan Bouchard's book. Is that and how everybody really can become an accidental expert based on the experiences they've had in their own life. And you can become an expert on that topic. You don't have to be a technical expert in this or that, but when you pull your life experiences together, you have become an expert in that arena. And if you share that in the right way, you then can become relatable to people. And I'd never heard it termed that way, but I thought, that the people that have been successful, they may not be technical experts, but they've been able to become accidental experts and be able to share that. So just one quick question, we need to move on. But so in this past year, Carl yesterday talked again a little bit about these crucial moments, and crucial moments are those moments where you look at in your career where there might be moments of risk of failure, where you know you might, and then we talk about our vital behaviors, but vital behaviors that kick you past those moments. Is there one, and I'm actually going to save a few minutes to come back to you guys because we're expanding these questions if you got some thoughts, but quickly, is there did you have one of those as you made your climb to Elite 10 this year? A crucial moment and a behavior that pushed you through that?
Well, it goes back to what I initially said. I was being somebody who I wasn't for my entire first year. I was trying to be my upline sponsor. I was trying to be whoever was already in the top 10. I was not sharing where I came from. And I started to do personal development finally after a year. Don't learn from that mistake, or do learn from that mistake. Finally started reading. John C. Maxwell was my first book, and it was 15 Laws of Invaluable Growth. And he said something about, staying true to yourself. And I said, okay, I'm gonna jump out there tonight on social media and share about my past with my lifestyle from before. And after that, I had so much great feedback that I was like, I'm just gonna keep riding that train because it feels right. And through personal development, I started to be able to really formulate my story and to connect with people and share. And so that was really a big turning point, was when I came out of the closet and said who I truly was. And I've continued to do that in every aspect of my life. I go back to where I came from and how Beachbody has changed that and relate that to the growth of my life.
Thank you. Okay, Carly, been in the business a whopping 2 years. Outstanding, and I know you made just a great run this year towards the Elite 10. What would you attribute your success to this past year? And what I really want to zero in on is behavior. We've talked a lot about kind of at a high level, but if you were to look at, you drill it down past the philosophy into what the behavior was that created the results.
Well, for me, top 10 happened, I kind of think, towards the end of the year, because I didn't start talking about the business opportunity, like you guys were saying. I was mentioning to, I think it was Jeremy on Wednesday night at the top 10 dinner, that I didn't recruit my first non-challenger coach until the end of summer. And that was a good way past halfway throughout the year. And it wasn't because I couldn't, or I didn't have people who wanted to hear about the opportunity. There's so many people, whether you think that or not, but it was because I was scared. And I hadn't quite owned my business and owned it, just it in general, being a coach. And the minute that I did, and the minute I started talking to people about the business opportunity and explaining why this opportunity has changed my life, it's inspired so many people to join me as a coach. And for me, I'm kind of known as that girl who runs a lot of challenge groups, and I sell a lot of challenge packs. So going outside my comfort zone and talking about the business opportunity and talking about leadership and owning myself as me as a leader, not my upline or any of the other coaches that I absolutely look up to, was when my business finally started to change. And yeah, it hasn't even been 2 years, it'll be 2 years in May. So it's just been kind of a roller coaster. I've been hearing you guys talk about learning experiences and all of that, and I feel like it all happened in the last 9 months. So I'm trying to figure out what my learning experiences were. But to kind of compound that question that you asked about, also something that I wish I had done or started to do sooner was just simply talking about the business opportunity and not comparing myself to other people. I always tell my coaches to have blinders on and just be you and own who you are, because the minute I started to stray away from who I was losing coaches left and right because my people and my team and my coaches didn't trust me. And the minute I started just saying, hey, I kind of lost myself there for a second, but this is me, this is how I'm gonna stay, and take it or leave it, we've been stronger than ever. And yeah.
So you talked about the business opportunity, which I think is really key to present the whole, as Amy is saying, presenting the whole picture. How do you keep it non-icky?
Oh, that's a great question.
That's such a good question, because that's what I was so afraid of for so long, was being icky. For me, I was talking to Amy about this backstage, is I like to talk about the opportunities.
For me, you know, my why, I'm not married and I don't have kids. So my why is very much about my immediate family and me. One of the biggest part of my why was I paid my parents back for my UCLA education for college, and for me, I talk about the opportunity. Things like I just sent my parents on a vacation last week. Things like that. I talk about the opportunity and what this opportunity has allowed me to do. And I do calls to action. You know, if you have questions about coaching, talk to me. The opportunity has changed my life. But the posts and the invites that I get the most traction from are when I'm talking about how and why I've been changed. Not necessarily the money. I'm not a top earner or anything like that, but my life has been eternally changed and forever changed because of this opportunity, and that's what people want to be a part of.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, Brittany, been in the business for a year and a half. Is it two years? Military wife. Your husband's gone a lot of the time, so it's maybe a good thing, maybe a bad thing. I don't know. For focusing on your business, I know what my wife would say when he's gone. It's a good thing. But and so as you look at your business over these last 2 years, what's the one thing that you would say this was key in creating these kind of results?
I mean, first I have to echo everything everyone said. Like Amy already said, there's so much redundancy, and that's all rings true in my personal business. But something that really stands out to me personally has made a huge impact in my business is building the community in my team. Being sure of the team culture that I wanted to create, what kind of leader I wanted to be. Beachbody's done such an incredible job of the coach network and the culture that they've created. I wanted to figure out how to do that in my little team. You know, I wanted to do that same thing, but in Brittany's way. Like, so learning to train my mindset and visualizing, like, what do I want my team to look like? What do I want this community to offer, both my challengers and my coaches? So wrapping my head around that, and that takes so much practice, and I'm still practicing, but getting there in your mind every day, practicing that mindset and setting your team up to be a true community. So it's not always rank, it's not always money, it's a community that people feel that they belong to. And it's the same with challenge groups. Challengers aren't always going to be a raging success. They're going to have a lot of struggles, but if you create that community in your groups, they're going to come back and they're going to try again. And that's what I'm so passionate about. So, you know, we all set goals and we all fall flat on our face, and so I don't want my coaches to miss a goal and feel like they don't fit in anymore, you know? So I think creating that, having that vision for what you want your team to be, what you want your team to offer, and your challengers, and that takes visualization, putting some words on paper and thinking about it, setting time aside every day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever your schedule allows, and to think about it. So that's what I would say, like just creating that vision of community, figuring out what you want that to look like for you and your business.
Yeah. As I listen to you guys, one thing that becomes very apparent to me is there's very conscious moments. There's thoughtfulness around the behavior, about what you're doing, where you're trying to go, and I know that doesn't always come at once, but I think that's worthy of note to make this a moment when you're doing things. It is good to think about, what am I trying to accomplish? What am I really communicating? How can I do this better? Is this creating the desired result? And be very conscious and thoughtful so you're getting the results, because it's so easy to just fall into the motion of doing the business and not getting the great results. Any just key learning moment you can share quickly before we move on?
Yeah, something that I wish I would have done sooner would be tracking, which everybody hates for the most part. But
say again?
Tracking business behavior. So whether it's the business activity tracker or some other form of tracking, like figuring out a way to reflect on your previous month, like figuring out a way to self-evaluate, so you have something pointed that you can work on for the next month, something that you can look at independently without somebody having to tell you what to do. You can reflect on your month or week or whatever it is you're doing, and you can make improvements. You can make small changes, do a little bit better the next month, and because it's on paper, you have it. It's like, I had a mentor in corporate a little while ago, and he said, Michael Phelps wouldn't get in the pool without a clock. And I love that, because that's so true in my business. Like, if I look at my tracker, I can see where I fell short. And I'm like, okay, well, if I have bigger goals, I need to clean that up. I need to tighten that up and improve. And it's all on me. I don't need anybody else to tell me what to do, because I'm tracking the behavior. And the other thing I would say that's a little bit less
technical is something that my coach did with me, is not underestimate the importance of a leader telling their coaches how much they believe in them. So simply saying that you believe that your coach can accomplish what they want to do is so powerful. So I wish I would have done that sooner with some of my newer coaches. It's definitely something I do now, but the power of just knowing one person believes in you is huge. So.
Yeah. Well stated. I think on the, just back to the business piece as well, Amy touched on this, is treating this like a business. I mean, there's no successful business doesn't track, doesn't measure what they're doing, their performance. And if you're not doing that, you're missing an opportunity for growth. Whatever, if it's the business tracker, business activity tracker, whatever it is, but that's just an element. Otherwise, it becomes this hobby, and you will get hobby results out of this. All right, Micah, mom of 2, expecting number 3, husband in veterinarian school, just graduated, you're almost ready to move, so you've been busy as well, and yet you've been able to achieve an elite 10 position. How? Yeah.
How did I do it? Can you hear me? Okay.
Hold it up close.
Oh, this is terrible. Okay, how did I do it? Consistency. Honestly, I didn't know what the heck I was doing when I started. I was in a challenge group and just wanted to help people and wanted to get challengers, and that's how I started, and that's what I do every day. Like, I haven't changed that much besides like leading and training and systems, and okay, so a lot has changed since the beginning, but not the important stuff. The important stuff, we all do the same stuff as you do. We do the simple things, we do it every day, we show up, we're consistent, we don't take breaks when we don't feel like working, when you're not in the mood, you just do it. And that's how I got here, is just doing those little things every single day.
So if I were to ask Melanie that question about showing up and doing those things, Melanie is extremely efficient and effective, very structured in what she does. When you talk about consistency, are you similar to that from the standpoint you set business hours, like you say from this time to this time, or with kids is it like, I'm just going to take it as it comes and just hang in there?
I have really good intentions, and I set up business hours in my phone, and they still ding every day, and I still ignore them usually. So I have just learned, I honestly work my business and have built a successful team in between the mom cracks. Like, I wake up early, I wake up way earlier than I did before to get personal development and workouts in before the kids wake up, so that can't be an excuse to not get in. And then honestly, I take my daughter to school, I do some business stuff while my son is happy and can play. And I think lots of moms, I know if I was a perfect mom, like I would be 100% focused on my child throughout the whole day. Like in a perfect world, that'd be great. But I think it's okay for our kids to play and to not be, like, to know that mom has a job. Even if she's at home, she has a job, you know? And so it's okay. It's okay to build your business while your kids are next to you playing. And you don't have to feel like you're less of a mom for doing that. And I just do it in between the cracks, really. Consistently, in the cracks.
Giving yourself permission. Micah, we're going to move on. Micah said something on the National Wake Up Call the other day. There was an epiphany for me, and you were talking about the 3 vital behaviors. This has nothing to do with what you just said, but I thought this was so profound in a very simple way. And I think you'll say it better than I say it, but she was talking about the 3 vital behaviors of invite, being proof the product works, and engaging in personal development. And she said, so this is what those 3 vital behaviors are all about. The first is really about creating authentic, real relationships with people. Something that we should be doing every day of our lives, what we really aspire to. The second is about just trying to be fit, trying to be healthy, trying to be well. Isn't that something that we want to do every single day? But it's so vital. And the third is just trying to develop yourself, become a better person, and get some of you on other people as well while you're investing in yourself. And I thought, I've always looked at the 3 vital behaviors as like, it's 1, 2, 3, kind of that way. And that breathed some just real meaning and value and life into those, because it was like, ooh, that's who we are. And that to the extent that we do those things well, that creates this authentic, when you guys, everybody here has talked about being real, being authentic, that just captured it for me, so thank you. Okay, Alyssa, number 10 out of like 250,000 coaches, which, so number 10 is a great place to be. You're going to France with us as you look back on this year. Key to success.
Honestly, I think that keep it simple, guys. Like you said, it really comes down to the 3 vital behaviors every single day in your business. And I know that many of the other leaders up here, and all of you out there as well, you have amazing training systems that you guys can get put into, but that's just all fluff. You need to just do the 3 vital behaviors and your business is gonna grow, and just keep doing that over and over and over again. And as you improve yourself, and you can shine more light into other people, people are going to naturally be attracted to you and want to be a part of what it is that you're doing. So, I mean, just keep it simple. That's all you really have to do in this business, is own yourself and just constantly be working on yourself every single day by doing those vital behaviors, and your business will grow. It might not grow at an exponential rate. It might kind of go up and down, but if you don't stop and you keep doing those things, every one of these people in here, every coach can have a successful business.
So how do you keep yourself keeping it simple? Because there's always drift in any business. We talked about the bright, shiny objects that capture us. So we say keep it simple, and you tend to think, I'm keeping it simple, but I'm drifting, off. How do you check yourself?
So I track my business as well, but I use another leader from somebody on the wall to share the Power of 3 document, which is just basically that you're inviting and that you're sharing what it is that you're doing to both the coaching opportunity as well as to your challenge groups. And that you're working on yourself, can you not hear me? That you're working on yourself and doing your fitness, and then also doing your personal development. So it's just kind of like a check mark, but then you're also inviting and sharing both of the opportunities, and with a follow-up component to that as well.
Great. All right. We're running out of time here. As we started this discussion, I was very scripted kind of in my questions of Amy and of Melanie and Lindsay. I want to give you guys just, if you were to sum up just anything that just came to mind quickly on kind of the rest of this, any last minute kind of stuff, do this, I learned this, any just 30-second nugget you want to share.
Is it on? Okay, 30-second nugget. So if you could take a little bit of everything, don't ever miss your workout. Your workout is your business. That's your consistency. It shows that it's proof that the product works. If you're struggling in the business, just go out there and share your workouts. Share what you're doing. Improve yourself. Do your personal development every day, because the more you work on your confidence, the things you're afraid of, your time management, all of those things, it'll help, right? Workouts, personal development, and don't be afraid of failure. You're gonna fail. You're gonna fail more times than you can ever imagine, but if you don't fail, you're never gonna know if you can succeed. So why not fall flat on your face and say, at least I tried, and be so afraid that you never gave it a shot.
So I will go off of what you just said about the failure thing, because you fail constantly. And a lot of times we beat ourselves up over it because we're like, we didn't hit a goal. But I look for the lesson. And even, like I just talked about on National Wake Up Call, even me where I am today, I have moments of self-doubt. I have moments where I feel like I don't know how the heck I even got up here. We all experience that, but I always try to look for the lesson, and there is always one woven in there. So whatever you're dealing with, look for the lesson and how it can turn into the blessing for your team. And I think that you'll find that they're there for a reason, and that they were there to grow you and make you even better.
You guys have to be honest with yourselves. I feel like a lot of the times we tell ourselves these stories, we have these excuses based on our belief systems, and whatever we want to tell ourselves to not go for our goals, we're going to tell ourselves, because we don't want to feel like a failure and feel like this and feel like that. And what we just really need to understand is that, like, this is a business, and we need to divorce our feelings and our emotions from it. And yes, you can still love what you do and love on the people who are doing this with you, but you need to be honest with yourself when it comes to the reasons why you're not hitting your goals. Because if you're not hitting your goals, it's because you're holding yourself back and you're telling yourself something that's a lie, so that you can follow through with not achieving what you want to achieve. So you need to be honest with yourself and start changing your story.
Lori's got one thing I gotta say.
One really big thing that I want to encourage you is to become comfortable getting uncomfortable. You know, it's not going to be easy, and the first time you post your before and after picture, and the first time you do your, inviting someone to be a coach, and had someone told me I would have to get up on stage and speak, I would have never signed up to be a coach. But you take those little things every day that when you start to even think about it, your stomach starts to get, shaky, and you start to shake, and you get those weird feelings. Those are the things you need to do, and you need to become comfortable doing them, because they get easier and easier every time. So whether it's reaching out to someone, sharing, taking a video of yourself working out, making your own video. I don't think I was on video my entire life as a child, and now, that's the biggest piece of personal development, is finding those moments that you can do something that's really hard for you, because you know that doing that will ultimately help somebody else out there.
Thank you so much. So, thank you. I think one of the things that I love about these, I think everyone gets this sense that they've got the same challenges, they've got the same demands. You've tended to make common practice out of common sense, and I think that's one thing that you've done consistently. So congratulations on achieving Elite 10. We're going to celebrate in France this not too far away, at the end of June. It's going to be phenomenal. We're going to be in Paris. We're going to be in Normandy. Those that have been before know that we do a pretty good job of doing it right over there. So I think all of you will enjoy a phenomenal time. Before we leave, we've got one little gift for you. Everyone knows last month we had the Beachbody Opoly game that we announced, and so we thought you guys should be the first to have one of these. So we got a little Beachbody Opoly for you guys, and so you've got something. You now can play by the pool. I'm sure that's what it'll be. So one round of applause for our Elite 10, everyone. Thank you so much. All right, as they leave, everyone, this afternoon, right now at 11:40.